I very much remember saying that I would not be playing Red Dead Redemption 2 back when I used to stream on Twitch, and mentioning that Rockstar, what they have become, is just fucked. But unfortunately, shit changes. Or I'm sorry, it changes. Like that most profound moment in Snoopy Come Home. It really does suck that even a game like this, the economy is just ridiculously fucked. But in order to preserve true friendship, sacrifices have to be made. Not just playing the shit like Fortnite or PUBG or whatever. It's okay to invest a couple dollars on an actual scam in a game that sometimes goes on sale, just to assure that you can maintain a friendship longer than having to argue about this one-sided road bullshit that unfortunately is not paved with good intentions. But I do know also as well, speaking of horrendous monologues featuring good friends and otherwise, that the Nintendo Direct was actually today, which is surprising considering that I actually looked up what was announced, and it actually does seem very promising, but after looking into it, number one, it's still Nintendo, so their chances of fucking up is still going to be very much prevalent. They have said a lot of shit that made people really pissed off, especially with one of those things being this so-called paying to upgrade, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And number two, all their actions with their so-called preservation, they're doing the same shit with the GameCube that they're also including. Oh yes, nothing says wholesome like being on borrowed time or life support over games that are so old that people don't care about because it didn't get the slop remake, remaster, whatever the fuck you want to call, forget about it, TM registered trademark, that people won't glaze all of a sudden. Like, you could still play the original Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, whatever is defined original, that's up to you, but unless Nintendo remakes it for more than standard MSRP, it's just shit. Like, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, you could probably play it on a GameCube, or even if you don't want to spend money on one game, get one of those SD card mounters. It's surprisingly easy. Even I did it. It just takes a little bit of time, but you know what they say, it just works. Take example of such things. Alright, let's go ahead and do this stupid cell shit. It's going to be a really bad idea, but we'll go ahead and entertain the thought for a moment. All those terrors of the library from people trying to do cell missions in GTA, and while there are no explosive rifles or even horses that can have that effect like in Retro City Rampage, I know for a fact that there will be somebody trying to grief. So let's see how far this shit really is. Holy mother of fuck. Well, let's just get our trusty bolt-action rifle ready and assure maximum success as I try, I'm gonna try, and make it without being horrendously griefed. I mean, Red Dead Online is basically dead anyway. I know this is like one of Rockstar's last true great games, but I also know for a fact that Rockstar just completely killed this game and beat it with so many dead horses that it's not even funny. But just for the sake of trying to play this game with one of my buddies, I will make the sacrifices needed because, well, even going through Cayo and Casino Heist, because those are like the only two viable ways of making money, and missions that aren't ridiculously difficult, nor take a long time to set up, unlike the Doomsday Heist, and the fact that even the original heist, which was pretty much the whole center point of the fucking game to begin with, was getting your buddies to do various setups and then doing the missions, is not really worth it. Diamond Casino Heist is okay, but you still need two people to play it, and Cayo has basically been nerfed. It also really sucks the dude who actually voiced Mr. Rubio unfortunately passed away. I believe I mentioned something on the XCOM or the Abyss or whatever shithole I like to call it every now and again. Apparently Rockstar was asked to keep quiet about it, which if that's actually true, I'll give them some respect. Since now, basically, anything they do or say can just lead to a bunch of people glazing them as if they're just still the same company that made the original 2 Grand Theft Auto games back on PC. And yes, Rockstar had set the establishment for Grand Theft Auto on PC compared to GTA 3 and onwards, where they basically focus on the console ports since the PC versions came later. And even the original 3D era of Trilogy goodness had really faulty PC ports, and of course it took the modders to fix it. And especially looking at how GTA 4 and yes, even GTA 5 were handled on PC, no doubt they're probably made for consoles, which is a shame, but whatever. I also know that GTA 6 is going to be $100, and there was some dude going on about how people get pissed off at prices and shit, at cosmetics, but will willingly spend money on GTA 6. I actually kind of agree, but the problem is that the dude is kind of out of touch, but he's not entirely wrong. It's just that he's a person who's known to be out of touch, but considering with how Nintendo is pulling all their crap, especially with their whole Bloodborne exclusive game, I guess. People have been calling it Bloodborne 2, and yes, I've been making wonderful tweets on the XCOM, though unfortunately none of them have blown up yet, as far as I can tell, because I haven't been on it as much, but I guess after finding out that the fucking Direct was today, apparently there's been a lot of good announcements, but the problem is that it's still Nintendo, and they're gonna fuck it up. I don't want to be like a grifter or whatever, and I know that there are channels who have made content just to grift or lie or whatever, but like, I'm going to remain as skeptical as possible. Even the Switch, the original one, I actually waited until Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was a thing, and while I still do think that it's a decent game, the DLC and post-launch update content just kind of ruined the game for me as a whole, because people want to have really stupid autistic arguments about who should be in the game. And even though people say that it's a celebration of video games, it's only on one fucking system, which is funny to me, because when I ranted about Bloodborne being DMCA'd, I got a comment saying that exclusivity is going to be a thing of the past, and yet people are celebrating what is essentially Bloodborne 2, but only on the Switch. I'm not 100% certain if it's going to be a time exclusive, as with something like Ghosts and Goblins, which I really should get around to playing that. I made a really horrible rant, and I feel that it's probably one of my worst rants of all time. Next to my god-awful Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown rant, which was just absolutely pitiful, but since Revo has come and gone, I guess it's basically already been overridden, but whatever. All I know is that people are never, ever allowed to use that. If you buy a system for one game, then you're just a scum of the earth, or that we don't care how much a game costs, we're going to buy it anyway, because people are going to be clearly glazing the fuck out of this next Bloodborne game. And it really sucks, because people hold From Software on a ridiculously high standard for some reason, and knowing that the Switch 2... Okay, well, I don't even know, to be honest, if it's going to even be like the original Switch, where it just wasn't exactly the most powerful device on the planet. But people didn't care about that because, well, it's like, people didn't care about the quality. They just like the... No, not quality, excuse me. The quality of the graphics. They don't care about the quality of the graphics. They care about the quality of the gameplay. So I'm going to hope that people keep that same energy whenever that Bloodborne 2 on Switch comes out. You know, it's even if there's an actual port on PC or whatever, do people not remember when Sony basically made it a requirement to have a Sony account just to play their single-player games? I don't think people really want that with something like Bloodborne, a game that's basically been exclusive for near a damn decade, and isn't even the only game that would be worth bringing over to other consoles or whatever, or even PC ports. Even something as older as 3D Dot Game Heroes, a game that people only know of just because of Scott the Woz, it would be absolutely great if Atlas or whoever owns the rights now could get that shit on other platforms so that more people can play it. Or even the complete opposite, too. Like, even something like Retro City Rampage, one of my favorite indie games, probably in my top 5 of all time, is on everything except the Xbox. Or even the much more disappointing, what the hell do you want to call it? The spiritual successor, if you want to call it that. It's on everything except the Xbox. Even got a fucking physical release on the Wii, albeit a limited run, but with emulation this should be no problem. But it's already outdated thanks to the whole pen and sword update, which is only on PS5, PC, and I think the Switch. So even though the game is technically on the Vita, the PS3, the PS4, and even the Wii, it's still objectively outdated. Oh my god, you're calling the game objectivity, but you're arguing it as if it's subjective. Well, how many fucking versions of the game actually have the fucking tanks and shit? It's just fucking dumb. Shut up. It's just really dumb. I'm actually surprised I did not get griefed whatsoever. I honestly thought I was going to get griefed. I guess I got extremely lucky. Like, very, very extremely lucky. Holy shit. And unfortunately, you can't see what level I'm at because for whatever reason, Rockstar decided to put the fucking level on the same fucking side as the traditional Rockstar notification, so I have to wait until that's cleared. And I didn't even level up, I think. So that's just very wholesome and nice. Why, thanks, Rockstar. You are just ever so lovable fucks who will milk anyone and everyone, including myself, because, well, I had to buy the fucking stupid-ass gold bars because, believe it or not, bounty hunting is the only viable way of earning these fucking things, but you have to spend so much time doing mundane shit that nobody fucking likes to do just to actually enjoy the fucking game that you put out. Call it contrarian, call me an asshole, call me a piece of shit. It is what it is. And yes, the rest of this footage is going to be from GTA Online because I just don't give a fuck. It's going to be partially a video log / rant, and it is going to be about the Nintendo Direct that happened on April 2nd of 2025. So, I'm on the website called Eurogamer.net. I'm not going to go over every single bit, but I just want to go over some of the stuff that seems remotely interesting, I guess. So, I'm just going to talk about what was announced in brief detail and to give my 2 cents on the whole ordeal in my little live rant I did a while ago. I'll try not to be too much of an asshole to keep the snowflakes in their purest, coldest form, or otherwise known as the cold heart of hate. Mario Kart World. I'm kind of surprised it took Nintendo this long to actually make a new Mario Kart and having it being called World, considering that Nintendo has done a lot for that, but considering the last time Nintendo actually made a Mario Kart game, they made one called Mario Kart Tour. It had a lot of bullshit on there. I really have to wonder if this new Mario Kart game is actually going to hold up, compared to just how ungodly balanced the last one is, and just how many fucking patchwork / revisions that it needed to be actually, you know, fun. It's still very upsetting that the closest thing we have to an F-Zero game is Nintendo Land and whatever idea that Crash Nitro Kart had in the original version, but had to be removed because as much as Beanox tried very carefully to add all of the levels from Crash Nitro Kart, due to impractical system limitations, the entire library of Crash Nitro Kart that had those gimmicks had to be retooled because they couldn't bother actually implementing the thing that F-Zero was able to do perfectly fine on the GameCube. And I bet you that Miyamoto is still going to say that we can't do anything because it has to be innovative. Yeah, try telling that to fucking From Software and Naughty Dog and tell me if games still need to be innovative to be fun. So let's go ahead and talk about this so-called upgrade pack. This is one of the things that even diehard fans of Nintendo will not be able to justify. As much as Sony sucks nards for having to censor anything remotely sexual, especially from their own fucking country, buying Dark Souls 2 on Steam and then getting a discount for Scholar of the First Sin is quite some heresy. Especially when there have been other games in the past where if you have that one version of the game and there's a next-gen update, you can get it for free. Even Darksiders 2, a game that's old as sin, getting a PS5 and I believe Xbox Series X re-release. I got that shit digital on PS4 way before the PS5 was a thing, and I could still download it for free. But Nintendo, no. They not only want you to buy the digital version of the game on the objectively inferior performing device, but it runs Doom Eternal fine, so we don't have to say shit about that. They expect you to get a voucher for a discount just to play their so-called fucking upgraded versions and shit. Like, who the fuck is gonna realistically buy Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch 2, or even Breath of the Wild with its shitty Master Levels DLC, which is on the same equivalent as when Metro did it, and nobody was happy about that, but everyone was kept quiet about when Nintendo did it, because Nintendo can do no wrong, yet Nintendo expects you to pay for an upgraded version of a game. How fucking retarded. Oh no, I said ableist language. That means I'm gonna get cancelled. Oh noes. Whatever. Metroid Prime 4, and it's actually getting mouse support. If this shit doesn't have multiplayer like Metroid Prime 2 or even Metroid Prime Hunters, not even gonna bother with it. And Nintendo or whoever made the remaster of Metroid Prime 1, which objectively took out content, even something as minimalistic as the fusion suit, is definitely worth something complaining about. What's sad is that this could end up like with Shenmue 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, or even Bayonetta 3, a long-anticipated sequel that is thankfully not a remaster or a remake, but just ends up being so disappointing that the wait was not even worth it. Kind of like with Hollow Knight Silksong, but I'm not going to touch about that because I haven't played the game. And honestly, I don't even know if I want to at this point, because it's just another Souls-like that's 2D, and there's already a game that can do all of that, but people ignored it because the lore is not really that important.
You might think you're Dark Souls, but I don't have to be interested in you like I am Dark Souls. Dark Souls earns interest, son. This game ain't done shit yet.
I could say the same shit about your precious lore for Dark Souls, but we'll leave it at that. Elden Ring. Hades 2 for the Switch. Oh boy, I can't wait to see people actually playing the game that basically broke Kotaku in half. Street Fighter 6. The game that has basically overcorrected the content of Street Fighter 5, but now you can play it on the go. And that's even if the game will maintain its expected 1080p 60 frames per second. But remember, people will defend Doom Eternal on the Switch because it is a maintained 30 frames per second or whatever. There's also Split Fiction, which I know has been selling pretty well, but I haven't played it, so I won't really be talking about that. And don't you dare bring up Elden Ring. I played that shit, and it's called Dark Souls 3. Shut up. Zelda Hyrule Warriors follow-up. I don't care about Dynasty Warriors unless it's Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, and unfortunately Warriors Orochi 4 turned out to be pretty fucking terrible. Glad I saved my money on that shit. The GameCube coming to Switch Online. Can't Nintendo just honestly have the Virtual Console come back instead of forcing people to subscribe to a fucking rental service and shit? I mean, they've already announced that they're delisting games from the Switch Online. You really think people are going to be any happier when Nintendo pulls that same shit? How fucking stupid are you people? Oh my god, Nintendo, it's so great that they're finally going to let people play begoted classics like Super Mario Land and the Game Boy, but whoops, you didn't renew your subscription for it, so guess what? You have to renew your subscription or be locked out of games you played in the fucking 80s. You people fucking eat up and then get mad at people for actually having constructive criticism. You're all Civilization 7, I don't care about real-time strategy games. Whatever. Enter the Gungeon 2. I didn't play the first one. I didn't play the sequel. I don't care. Cyberpunk 2077, a game that was a catastrophic failure, required so much patchwork and is now being rewarded the gracious port that is on Nintendo Switch 2. Fuck off. Final Fantasy VII Remake. You can literally play the original on anything now. This does not need to be a thing. From Software announces the Duskbloods. Oh yes, let's have yet another Souls-like. I'm going to assume this is a Souls-like because From Software can't do anything original anymore. Unless it's Armored Core 6. And even that's not really original because it's basically their mainstay IP before they became known for Souls and nothing else. But remember, Bloodborne has not been ported officially outside of the PS4 for a damn near decade, and people crying that Sony is losing money and that exclusives are going to be the way of the dodo. But guess what? You fell for the marketing scheme, and if this shit turns out to be pretty fucking expensive, you have no right to complain about people saying that they will buy a system for a game or that AAA games are too overpriced. Kirby Eye Riders. I think that's Eye Riders. I'm guessing it's supposed to be AI, but it's supposed to be cute and funny about it. I didn't play the racing game that was on the GameCube. I didn't have a GameCube growing up. I played some GameCube games. I know that Melee is a thing. Some people calling it boring now, or they're playing on Slippy. Don't know, don't care, don't at me. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Nintendo's going to screw people over in some way, shape, or form with their begoted classic. Apparently there's going to be some sort of region lock thing with this shit, so yeah, people can have fun with that. But remember, Nintendo is saved because they've actually made games great again. Oh, but wait, you can only pre-order if you have the Switch Online members, but remember, pre-ordering is bad. Even that one song told us not to pre-order.
Graphical downgrades, and it's full of bugs. What you gonna do? Pre-order!
You're gonna break the fucking rule like the piece of shit hypocrites that you call yourself objective, knowledgeable people that you are. Y'all can fuck off. I'm gonna go back to doing literally anything else besides talking about this shit because I have a fucking headache, and the only thing that can calm myself is some fucking Excedrin. A thing that's meant for hangovers, but I don't even fucking drink. Legit. So,